This episode contains discussions of violence, murder, and themes of revenge. Listener discretion is advised. Justice and revenge. Two sides of the same coin. But what happens when the system meant to protect you betrays you? Clyde Shelton wasn't always a monster. He was a father, a husband, a man who believed in the law. Until one brutal night shattered that belief forever. But Clyde's revenge wasn't just about making his enemies pay. No. His war was personal, relentless, and precise. It wasn't about one man's vengeance. It was about bringing the whole system to its knees. The question is, was he justified? Or had he become something far worse than the monsters he hunted? Clyde Shelton was a brilliant engineer, a devoted father, and a man who lived by the rules. He built security systems for the government, trusted the law, and believed in justice. But in a span of a few minutes, those rules meant nothing. His wife and daughter were stolen from him, murdered in cold blood, and then came the real betrayal. The legal system, meant to protect the innocent, failed him spectacularly. The murderer, Clarence Darby, walked away free after cutting a deal with prosecutor Nick Rice. A deal that let a monster roam the streets. A deal that told Clyde one thing: justice is a lie.
It's not what you know, Clyde, it's what you can prove in court.
And something else was born in his place. Something colder, smarter, deadlier. If justice wouldn't do its job, Clyde would make it do its job. On his terms, with his rules. Clyde's revenge wasn't reckless. It wasn't driven by blind rage. It was surgical. A decade in the making. He spent 10 years studying the justice system. Every loophole, every blind spot, every weakness. And then he made his first move. Clarence Darby, the man who had slaughtered Clyde's family, woke up in a nightmare of his own making. Chained down, helpless, facing the consequences that the court had denied him.
You can't fight fate, right, Darby?
Clyde didn't just kill him. He dismantled him. Piece by piece. Darby wasn't just executed. He was erased. And with his death, Clyde sent a message. The system let me down, so I'm tearing it apart. And that was just the beginning. Clyde could have stopped there, but this was never about one man. Darby was just a symptom of a diseased system, and Clyde was ready to be the cure. So he did the unthinkable. He turned himself in. He let himself be arrested. A calculated move. Because now, Clyde was in the perfect position to tear down everything. One by one, those responsible for the corruption started dying. Judges, prosecutors, lawyers. No one was safe. From inside his prison cell, Clyde played puppet master, controlling the game while his enemies scrambled to stop him.
I'm going to bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's going to be biblical.
And with every move, he made one thing clear. This was not vengeance. This was justice by his own design. Clyde Shelton didn't just wage war. He forced people to ask uncomfortable questions. Was he right? If the system failed him, was he justified in taking matters into his own hands? Or did his pursuit of justice become an excuse for destruction? If a system protects the guilty, do the innocent have the right to destroy it? Where does justice end and vengeance begin? In the end, Clyde's war came with a price. Nick Rice, the man he once saw as an enemy, finally outmaneuvered him. In his final act, Clyde sat alone in his prison cell, watching as his final plan was undone.
I'm doing the right thing, Nick. You just have to see it that way. By murdering all those people, all you're doing is destroying the memory of your daughter and causing the same pain that you're suffering from.
Nick set the final trap, one that Clyde didn't see coming. The bomb, meant to take out his enemies, detonated right under him. Clyde Shelton's war ended in fire. So here's the final question. Was Clyde a hero or a villain? Did he expose the system's flaws or simply prove that violence breeds more violence? His war ended, but the echoes remain. Justice is still flawed. Corruption still exists. And somewhere out there, another Clyde Shelton might be waiting, watching, deciding if they too should burn it all down. Where does the line truly lie between justice and madness?